Welcome to the full-time fans preview of Week 2 of the 2023 NRL Finals Series. It is semi-final time, and we have two sudden death matches being played this week. The first one on Friday night sees the Roosters travel down to Melbourne to take on the Storm. Both teams have some injury woes and missing some key players. However, the Roosters are more depleted and will be fielding a backline that is just about completely second string. If they are to win this week, they will again have to do it without Tupu, Warrior-Hargreaves and Tupanua. But the toll from last week's win against the Sharks has also claimed Manu, Suaalii and Billy Smith. It cannot be overstated how important these players are to the Roosters' chances of winning any matches, let alone playing the Storm down in Melbourne. Manu and Suaalii's abilities to create plays out of nothing will be sorely missed. The Storm will be without regulars, Xavier Coates, Tonu Mapia and Jerome Hughes. Ryan Papenhuisen, of course, suffered that horrific injury last week. However, he has only played for 2 matches since coming back from injury. So as far as the team chemistry is concerned, most of the backline from their successful season is still intact. They will, of course, miss Coates' speed and ability in the air, however, with Munster and Grant pulling the strings and Wishart filling very well when required. The Storm should still have too much firepower for the Roosters. The Storm were unlucky not to put points against the Broncos last week. They played well away from home. However, the Broncos simply had a blinder in defence. The Roosters may consider themselves lucky to get through on golden point with the Sharks, blowing several chances to put the game away last week. The Roosters cannot keep patching up their team and expect to keep winning, especially away from home against the Storm in a do-or-die match. We cannot see how the Roosters get across the line. The Storm should be too professional and fire themselves into the preliminary finals. The second match sees the Knights travel to Auckland for a chance to make their first preliminary finals since 2013. They will have to play well to get past the Warriors at home, as they have been very strong as the home team this season, winning 8 of 12 matches, whilst the Knights only managed 5 wins from 12 away from home this season. There are a few factors to consider in this match. The raucous Auckland crowd are going to ride their team from start to finish, and the Warriors get their playmaker Johnson back, giving them just about a full-strength team. The Knights will be in enemy territory with very few fans, dealing with different conditions including much colder weather than they have been used to in Newcastle the last few weeks. If they make as many errors as they did last week against Canberra, it will be a long night for them, and the Warriors should capitalise easily. Although the Knights are riding a 10-game winning streak, they have done it predominantly with key playmaker Jackson Hastings, who will be out this week, as well as Lachlan Fitzgibbon, who were both injured in last week's win against the Raiders. The Knights endured a 90-minute rollercoaster last week, where they scored early but went in well behind at the break. They then went up by 2 tries, before the Raiders scored the last 2 tries to force extra time. Finals rules called for a mandatory 10-minute period of extra time, so both teams spent some extra energy out there. This was all against an unfancied team who no one gave any hope of winning, so you can make arguments for a slight dip in form, but you could also say that they have been good enough to win, even though they have not been at their best, which is the position all champion teams want to be in. The Warriors were outclassed by the Panthers last week. However, they were without playmaker Shaun Johnson, and finishing in the top 4 guaranteed them a second match. We're not sure how much energy they would have spent last week, knowing the titanic task of trying to beat the reigning champions without their key playmaker. It would have been seen as a free shot, but by halftime the match was out of reach, and they likely had their minds and hearts set on a home semi-final. The Knights still have some firepower to trouble the Warriors in the backline. However, the forward pack will a brutal obstacle, stacked with the home advantage and the conditions they are used to, and we think this should prove too difficult a task for the Knights to pull off an upset. We see the Warriors winning this one. Join us again next week as we preview the preliminary finals.